How's it going, folks? Stu here. Annette has finally found its way onto UK screens, and hang on, you know what? Doing this with a drink. It's got to be done. This film's mental. That was a pop and a half. Annette, much better. It just feels more right with booze in hand for some reason. Bottoms up, baby. Let's go. So Annette is a new musical from director Carax. I've actually, hands up, not seen any of his work before this, which I think is probably a terrible thing considering I'm supposed to be a film person. It's a musical about a couple played by Marion Cotillard and Adam Driver, who are an opera singer and a stand-up comedian respectively, and we basically just follow their relationship on screen. And on paper, you'd think that's the exact story we've seen from every musical ever, right? Just two creatives in love. Wow. But make no mistake, Carax's way through this, I mean, you'll know if you've seen any of Carax's work before, is beyond unique. And I have to say, this is absolutely the most unique film I've seen this year, hands down. Every moment in this film, every creative decision is not the one you sort of think is going to be coming, which is a way of storytelling and filmmaking which I find can often be quite hit or miss with different directors. I've seen that way and that approach to film before come off as messy or like it doesn't really know what it's doing, so it's just making crazy decisions for the sake of crazy decisions. And I suppose there's an argument to be made that Carax is sort of doing that here, and I'm not surprised that there are people that have absolutely come out and said, it felt like a mess. But I think Carax, for me, lands the flip side of that, which is not a mess and more just sort of this crazy whirlwind abstract roller coaster. I come away from it feeling less that it's someone that doesn't know what they're doing and is just throwing shit at a wall, and more that it's someone that kind of is just having fun with the process, which is something that I'll always connect with, I think, in a film. I always like seeing filmmakers, actors, musicians, in whatever form, just enjoying their craft and having fun, and just the enjoyment of trying to find new ways through things. I think it comes through here in Annette big time. And it's just so sort of irresistible, I think. Even in the moments which didn't quite work for me, I was still interested and I was still engaged and I was still fascinated at the way the film is going about its story. Right from the get-go, the opening song is this crazy sort of driving, very meta, very sort of like talking to the audience musical piece, which quite literally sees Sparks, the director, and the cast sort of singing at the audience, asking them if we can start the film. And it immediately sets the tone for the musical numbers that you're going to get through this film, which are above all just insanely playful. On one side, deconstructing this idea of musicals, you know, characters singing about how much they love each other repeatedly through a musical. But on the other hand, feels like it's not doing that in a way which is like, this is all silly and stupid. It's reveling in the silliness and the absurdity of it all. Also, I did just find the music to be straight up awesome. So like on the very bare level of what a musical needs to do, it's got songs in it and the songs are good. We could leave the review there. And we haven't even talked about the performances in the film yet. So I guess we're gonna have to talk about the performances in the film now. Adam Driver is so good in this film. I knew he would be good, but I was genuinely surprised at how good his performance was in this film. It's just energetic, right? It's just a crazy performance. And with a performance this big, in a film this big and out there, he never loses you. There was not one point where I was like, you didn't have me there, Adam. He always had me, and I guess that's the Adam Driver way. But as I said, Marion Cotillard is in the film as well alongside him as the opera singer to his stand-up comedian. And I liked the duality of their performances. They're very different sides of the theatrical spectrum, I guess. She kills it. She was always going to kill it. Marion Cotillard. But I was also really surprised by Simon Helberg's performance in the film, who, I'll be honest, I forgot was in the film. I mean, he's in the opening, but then just isn't really in the film until he pops up and you're like, Simon Helberg, hello. I'd only known him from The Big Bang Theory, but I thought he really did a good job of injecting this different side of comedy into the film, and the trio of them in the film work really well in their own different ways. He also just happens to have some of the best lyrical moments in the film. I mean, the song that introduces his character proper is so good, I want to watch that sequence over and over. But the main thing about all of those performances is that in their own way, they're very full of energy And it all just adds to this overall piece, which is just full of energy. I mean, it never stops driving forward. It never stops taking the time to be like, you know what? You really don't know where this is going to go. We're going to go this way. And it's one of those films where in the latter act of this film, I found myself thinking like, how did we get to this from the opening of this film, right? Like, this is a different film than what we were watching an hour ago, which I think will be a negative for some people, but I generally really love it when a film makes me think that. Or rather, I love it when a film makes me think that and still has me on its side when I think that, right? I just can't stop thinking about so many different moments in this film. It's filled with crazy shit. Some amazing puppetry pops up in the film, which I feel like we need to talk. That was crazy. They sing while they're tickling each other, which is pretty crazy. Adam Driver performs cunnilingus and sings. That was crazy. Just so many things are crazy in this film. It does sort of suffer from that thing where if you're throwing so much shit into something and you're doing all of these crazy ideas, you're gonna have a couple of flukes in there. And there's definitely some sequences which I didn't hate. There was never anything which I was like completely against in the film. But certainly there were moments which didn't quite land in the way other moments did and felt slightly jarring because of that. But in retrospect, don't really derail the film. And I think that's part of the reason why I can sit here and say, I think I love this film. And that's because even though there are things which I didn't love about it in there, none of that really took away from the overall feeling of just watching something wholly unique, wholly creative, from people that are just obviously having fun and love their craft. It kind of doesn't really give a shit about what you think of it, which might be a frustrating thing for some viewers when they watch a film, but it's almost kind of liberating in terms of artistic expression and creativity. It's just doing shit, and you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Very happy to say that I have landed on the love it side. Thank you. You didn't have to applaud, guys. I'm also really excited to see it again. It's one of those films which I'm very excited to tear it apart and study it. But a very difficult film to recommend to people, not in the sense that I don't want people to see it, because I absolutely want people to see it, but I don't know how people will react. Like, I couldn't possibly predict how anyone I know will react to this film. You've just sort of got to see it for yourself. As I said, it just released in cinemas over here in the UK, so definitely go and check it out if you're even thinking about seeing it. And more so than any other release this year, I think, I'm desperate to know what you guys thought of Annette. So let me know in the comments down below. We'll have a little chat. Did you find it crazy? The answer has to be yes. If you enjoyed this video and you do want to see me chat about more films, go ahead and click subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. I've just explained how YouTube works to you. I'll see you guys soon for some more thoughts on more films, but until next time, I'm going to go think about Adam Driver's butt. Because we saw it, and it was a butt.